Coffee's ready.
Thank you, Dan.
You need your coffee, Ricky?
I would like for us to continue talking a little bit about a special relationship and holy relationship because it's such a, I think it's maybe a unique idea that the Course offers here. I'm sure it's discussed in other terms, in other approaches. Maybe they don't identify it quite that way. But the Course really hits the nail on the head when it says why we're here. It says that we have come here, that means into the world, to find the specialness that God would not give us. It's like, okay, Father, you won't give it to us. Guess what? I'll create my own little, or make my own little world, and you'll find it there. So there you are. Here I am, looking for specialness. And it's built into our society. Make America great, either again or maybe it's already great, but make it greater. It's okay to make it great. Let's back off on it just a bit, but not greater. Special doesn't mean it's not something that's not important. It just means it's not more important than another. So how about sending your kids to the best schools? How about when you're playing in sports to being better than the other team? I mean, it's just so ingrained. It's like buttons on a shirt. I mean, they're just there all over the place. Not that buttons are all over the shirt, but they are present in the right places, I guess. Our language is set up for that. And the Course, so it makes this big distinction then between special and holy relationships. He doesn't, of course, Jesus doesn't attack us for having special relationships. He says, yes, you can have those, it's fine, but they don't work and they bring unhappiness and there's a lot of pain in them. Not that that deters us.
Not at all.
Like, oh, well, so what?
That's because we think we're different.
Yeah, ours will be. Those others were just not, the painful ones,
Yeah.
they were not special enough.
They were not as smart
I'm
as
going to make
me.
mine more special. See?
Yeah, I know how to do
The friend that you got that was special that disappointed you, he wasn't. I'm going to find one that's more special than that. In fact, the Course even mentions that. It says sometimes two people come together and it seems like it's a match made in heaven. Everything clicks. So they are really, really special. And he said that just means that the hate is buried deeper. That's what he says. I'm not making this up here. I've always wondered about the use of the word hate. It sounds like such a drastic word to me. But I think what happens if you hate somebody? Well, do you want to attack them all? You enjoy attacking. That must be what hate means. I enjoy.
They deserve to be attacked.
They deserve to be attacked.
Yeah.
I'm honored to be the attacker. And I enjoy that honor and use it in every way that I can.
Well,
Yes.
when I look around the world, it seems like that I have to survive.
Who says? But
I
go
have
ahead.
to work. I have to go and till the garden. I have to hunt the deer. I have to, and that's not hate.
No, that's survival. That's right. That's not hate. Right in the first of Genesis, talking about the Garden of Eden and stuff, when I don't even going to go into this in a way because the Course doesn't teach this, but you do remember that in that story, God said you're going to have to work for what you get from here on out. Till the ground by the sweat of your brow. Well, that's not a Course teaching. I don't think the Course would disagree with the fact that we have to work hard in this particular environment to find food and shelter and so forth. That's not specialness. Specialness is when I say I do it better than you do. I kill more deer than you or I have a bigger dinner on my table than you. My mother is the best cook in the world, best. There's nothing wrong with good. I'm not a good cook, fine. Best cook, another matter. We just say these things all the time. He's the best mechanic I've ever found. Well, how is that special? Because I found him. I don't really care whether he's special, except I do want him to be talented. Well, yes, I would like to be him good for my benefit. Specialness always has to do with you. Yeah, I suppose you could direct it at another person. I hope he wins his basketball game. But I really think that's specialness for you too, because he must be your son or somebody you like.
No, it becomes we. They all of a
Right.
sudden, we played that game well. Where were you, sitting on the couch?
It's
Yeah.
never, I hope my enemy plays well. You don't ever go that way,
Right.
you know. I hope the other country that's fighting against us, I hope they fight that battle really well. No, you don't say that. In fact, that's treason or something, to say that. I hope we win the war. That doesn't do with specials, does it? That's just your preference. But if we're better soldiers, that is. If we're better fighters, that is. If we're a better country, and you say, well, maybe that's really true. Maybe we're a democracy and they're a dictatorship that's attacking other countries. Who's to say about that? Because the basis of that is not real to begin with. You see, I haven't even gone there. I haven't even gone to the fact that what you're comparing is not real. But if I can't think of anything else, I will go there. See, and I wasn't coming up with anything else with the countries. I just go over the fact that who says you need different countries? But we do, and there's nothing wrong with having different countries. But when mine is better than yours, it's because I want specialness. Yeah.
You know, the Geneva Convention, you know, we've got rules in war. You gotta treat the prisoners a certain way.
You're right.
You know, or you're breaking the rules of convention, the Geneva Convention. But that's an attestment to our humanity, see. That puts us up above everything. It's like,
Well, I would like to have the Geneva Convention expanded to where the final rule is thou shalt not fight wars, you know. But kind of like in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not kill. That was the first one, wasn't it? Is that, I don't know. I'm not.
it's 1 to 10.
One of the yeah.
Talk to
I
us.
know it's in there, right? But we read it in a different way. Thou shalt not kill except in war, except in the enforcement of safety for society, when the police do it, except when blah blah, except. And then of course it's, well, really, let's get to the bottom of this. You can't kill anything. So why even bother to tell people not to kill? But you can't kill anything because anything that's alive cannot be killed. The body's not alive. That's the teaching of the Course. So when you destroy a body, I mean, you know, you make it so it doesn't work anymore. You haven't killed anything. You've just turned off. We turn off the radio in our car, bloom like that. You turn off the body by shooting the person or them falling off the cliff or whatever. Or just get dying of a disease. The body is being turned off by one means or another. But that is not death because the body wasn't alive to begin with, and you're not a body. We affirm that all the time. We say, I'm not a body, I'm free. I'm still as God created me. That is a profound statement, by the way. Hidden in a little innocent-sounding threesome. But it's a profound statement. It's profound because most people will go along with it, not realizing you're trying to upturn their whole world.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that may not be your motivation, but to fully accept that pretty much turns their world upside down. You're not a body, so who cares that it's dying? It's not really dying, it's just quitting. Your body quits when certain things happen to it. It can't go on any further, but it wasn't alive. It's just not who or what you are. The Course talks more about the special relationship. What it says about the special relationship is really serious here. It says it is your last, if I remember this correctly now, it is your last step before you're ready for the real world. It's the last drawback. It's like if you're going toward the real world, you'll probably stop and look back. That could be a special relationship. Yes, it could.
That was good.
Because you saw that glimmer of specialness,
Shiny object.
and he or she, whoever, was just a little head and shoulders above the others, and now I can get my really special relationship. Oh, soulmate. How special can you get? This is my soulmate. I've got her soul or his soul and attach it to my soul, and we're now one soul, and I don't know what the heck any of that means. But it makes you feel special. I'm not saying I don't think that occurs at this level. I haven't the slightest idea. But I'm saying if it does, you're still not special. So when you find your soulmate, what you say, I want to make it really clear to me. You're not special to me. Has anybody in here ever said to a friend or a loved one, you're not special to me? Without their turning and walking off the other direction.
Yes.
However, we must not forget that they're important. See, we think when you throw the word special out, the word importance goes too. They're locked together in our mind. And the ego, that's the ego's teaching. If the other person is not special to you, they're irrelevant. Forget them. They mean nothing. That's not what the Holy Spirit's saying. The Holy Spirit says other people are important, and relationships is the path of, in the way I look at it, of the Course in Miracles. That's its main path, is relationships. So it says, the Holy Spirit says, do not throw your special relationships away. They have value in a future sense, in that they can be changed into holy relationships. So you don't want to go in there with scissors and cut them off and throw them away. You want to let them to be moved in the direction of holiness. Now, there is a verse in the Course that says, the Holy Spirit can't enter your relationship unless both people agree to it. I can read it to you if you wish, but it's sufficient to just say that. See? And so people begin to wonder, well, how do I get my partner to agree to a holy relationship? Because you can barely agree to it, and the chance that he or she would is kind of dismal generally. And so people who study the Course kind of puzzle over that. Well, I'd like to have a holy relationship with Joe or Jim or Jane. But I asked them about that, and they looked at me and said, no, if I can't be, to the ego, if a relationship is not special, it's nothing. And so we're left in a little bit of a dilemma. And the way I look at that is this. If you're in a relationship, you need to do your part to making it holy. And you can always do that. And you do that by asking the Holy Spirit to take all the fear out of the relationship as much as we'll allow from the other person, as mine as well as yours. Because fear does come from the desire for specialness. The fear comes because I'm afraid you'll stop being special. The fear comes because you're gonna fail in your duty to make me feel special. You forget my birthday. Oh. Well, so you ask the Holy Spirit to take as much fear out of our relationship as He can, and just to put it under His care. And that's all that you really need to do. You cannot convince another person to say, I'm going to see this as a holy relationship if they don't want to. But what's the difference between seeing it as a holy or seeing it as not holy? To see it as a holy relationship means I have no purpose for it. Oh, Joe, I forgot to tell you, our friendship, it has no purpose for me. But it has a purpose. It's just not my purpose. It's God's purpose. And that's the purpose I have for your relationship. I personally have no purpose. I see no purpose in it. I don't see no point in it. Why are you even here talking to me? You know, kind of like, well, there is a reason, but it's just God's reason and not mine. That's all. And that little distinction might be a little lost on someone you're talking to, so I wouldn't bother to say that to somebody. You know, they just think you're attacking them, I think. But it needs to be your truth. You do not need to have a purpose of your own for that relationship. You're not bad if you do that. I'm just saying that it's not holy. holy means you've accepted the Holy Spirit's purpose for the relationship. Of course, most people say, well, I'm sure that his purpose is the same as mine. That's where he gets his purpose, it's from me. Well, I don't think it works that way. We've got to switch that by 180 degrees, basically. At the point when Holy Spirit, you do believe like I do, don't you? You know, no, the Holy Spirit is saying, Bob, actually, you're the one that's supposed to accept my purpose, not the other way around. So you don't need to give your purpose to the Holy Spirit. He's already got one for that relationship. He really does. He sees it in a way, he sees what the purpose is that will benefit both you and the other person. And your job then is to accept that. And say, well, how do I accept it? Well, you just put yourself in a receptive mood and ask for it, that's all. So it's up to you. If you want to have your relationship in your way, and you just better adopt to my idiosyncrasies, by the way, or whatever, you know, whatever things are important to you, then you're not talking about a holy relationship. A holy relationship says, Holy Spirit, well, I want to accept your purpose for that relationship. And here's the really, really short way to remember that. When someone ticks you off, okay, you say, Holy Spirit, help me see this person as you do. That'll take care of it, I believe. It's amazing that really works. I've done that trillions of times.
Lost opportunity.
Now the best way to work on that is to get married, of course, or at least to have a steady friend, you know, that you see all the time. Because the casual friends don't tick you off that much. You just cut them some slack. You knew they weren't special anyway. They're just casual, so what the heck. But as soon as you get married or have, maybe even in families, you know, like mom and dad and whatever, I don't know. It's up to you to decide how far it extends. But there's this huge desire to make yourself special to somebody else and them special to you. But when you're thinking about this, and you say, well, I'm going to really try to do this because I'm a course student and all this, that sounds good. Don't forget that they're important. They may not be special. They're important. So the way you tell a person they're not special is to tell them how important they are. Is that right? That sounds a little bit like the same thing, doesn't it? So let's back off on that just a bit.
Important but not different.
Important, yeah. It's kind of a fine line there, isn't it? You're really, really important to me, but no more important than anybody else. Somehow that wouldn't go over very good if you were to say something like that. Maybe we just need to say this to ourselves. But the Course says what will happen if you really do start withdrawing your sense of specialness from the other person. He or she will know. Because you will forget to give him, let's say, a birthday card, and he won't care. You'll notice that. And furthermore, he's forgotten it's Valentine's Day. You might notice that. Or your anniversary. You might notice that. The next time you get really, really mad at him, it obviously doesn't bother him at all. And you other person start thinking, they're pulling away from me. That's what they will think. And the Course says, no, I'm just coming at you through the Holy Spirit. That's all. I'm just coming at you in a different way. I'm appreciating you as you really are and not as my ego has dressed you up to be. So you don't count the wrinkles as they age, okay? They're not a body. The specialist relationship generally focuses in on body and personality because it doesn't know anything about spirit or soul. You don't go up or think of somebody. I especially like their soul. More so than any other soul. That's not a part of our language. A soul is a soul is a soul, you know. They're all the same. Your spirit and my spirit are the same. There's not one. Wayne doesn't have a better spirit than Faye. And I'm sorry. You know, they're the same, see, or anybody else. And So you're trying to learn that from your relationship. And the reason it's emphasized is because if you only learn it in your mind, you're just saying a bunch of words, see. You know, it doesn't mean anything, really. You've got to learn in your relationship. And so you just ask the Holy Spirit, I want this relationship to be placed in your care, and he will always handle that. And every time, again, something happens, you say, Holy Spirit, help me see this person as you do. You could continue that, say, Holy Spirit, you do see that other person is doing me wrong, don't you? The answer is always no.
Sorry.
And doing it is a kind of amazing thing. I was not just joking when I said I've done it 1 trillion times. The trillion is a slight exaggeration, but many times, many times, you know. It always works. That's amazing, just to have that thought, and it actually works. It's always with Mary, of course, she's my greatest teacher. I don't seem to have that so much with my kids. You can have it with your kids, though. It doesn't have to be your spouse. It could be with your parents, certainly, or just friends. Okay, here I want to be your friend. So I want you to understand I'm going to do some things for you because I'm going to be your special friend. And by the way, I want you to do stuff for me. And I've got a pencil here, and I will take note of how many you have and have not done. A lot of people are that way. They count. It may not be conscious. You know, there may not be a piece of paper where they've actually counted, but in their mind somewhere they're counting. And it's like if a person wants to be a friend to my friend, what I would like to say to them, but I won't, I don't think, is I want you to understand something. When you do stuff for me, that doesn't mean I'm going to do a damn thing for you. It doesn't mean that. And it doesn't mean I'm not. I don't know. The Holy Spirit has to tell me. Sorry. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to say that verbally to another person. It would just be too much like an attack. I mean, it just would be. Yes.
But you know.
But I want to say it in here to
Yeah.
myself.
But I do know that when you do something for somebody, you have to always keep in mind that you're doing it because you want to, not because you have an expectation.
Right.
And it's like giving things away, giving things to you. I had a mother-in-law that she would give me stuff, but then she would come to my house and look to see where it was. If it wasn't where she thought it ought to be, she'd say, "Oh, well, I guess you didn't like that, did you? Oh, well, if you really don't want it, well, then just give it back to me." And I would be like, "It's never mine. It's always hers in my house."
You could have said, "Well, I've already thrown it away."
Well, no, I basically.
Although I wouldn't advise it, I didn't mean that. But
No, I just quit taking things from her because
Yeah.
she wanted to give me things, and I go, "No, that's okay."
Right.
Never
You
sever
know,
the string.
because it was never really mine. It was in my house.
I think that some people feel that they will buy into your friendship by giving you
I
things.
think that I do too. I believe that.
I don't know really quite what to do about that. You know, you can just say, well, like you were saying, no thank you, you know, that eventually. But if, on the other hand, you could look at it like, well, if they want to give me, I'm going to say thank.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
Yeah.
accept and say thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I normally do.
Yeah.
But the safer route is to say no thank you, but then you don't want to get any gifts from anybody, you just you always tell
Well,
them
if
no.
you know it comes with some attachment.
That's right.
Or some
Condition.
expectation,
Yeah.
then I'll just say, "Man, I don't need it." 'cause
I
I
think
really
what
don't.
I would do is I receive it until I notice that there's an attachment, and then from then on I start saying no thank you. Because it's not, attachment will not always be there, and I will not know necessarily.
But the main thing is, when you give something to somebody, you give it because you don't have an expectation.
That's right.
And no matter whether they are happy you gave it to them or not, or expect something every time after that, is their is in there.
The idea of what's fair comes up in this regard. Well, I'm not being treated fairly because I've done 10 things for you and you've done only 2 things for me, see, or something.
Right, yeah.
You know, that, yeah, yes.
My question is, if I believe, let me state that I give you all the power I make you what I believe, what I want you to be,
Right.
whether it's birthday
That's
gifts
right.
or not. My question, if I do that on the good side, how do I manifest all these people that are not agreeing with me on the other side? Because I'm still giving that same power, right? I mean, if I'm making Susan into my friend and I love her and I want her to be this way, then the people that don't dance to where I think, I'm still making those people, right? I'm still making them what they are. Is my
Yeah, yes,
question.
I'm not seeing, I'm not hearing the question yet.
Okay, I believe in all relationships, it's what I believe that makes them. I can believe Susan's a
Right.
good person, or I can believe Susan's a bad person.
Right.
It's all in my
Right.
willingness to whatever.
Yes.
So it's easy to love people who love you back and go through all this with you. But what about these people that aren't that much fun, that disagree with you? Am I making them in the same way I'm giving her the power, is my question.
Well, if the people that are unpleasant to be around for whatever reason, they're not satisfying your personal purpose for them, which is to make you happy or somehow make you.
So I am giving them that power.
Well, you just ask the Holy Spirit,
Okay.
help me to see this person as you do.
Yeah, oh, I agree
Should
with
I
that,
see
yes.
them as the guy that failed to make me happy?
Yeah.
Uh,
Did not buy me a diamond ring.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. And the Holy Spirit's gonna say, no, you see them as your brother, but one who's asleep and doesn't know what's going on, you know?
Right.
And so you just pray for him in some way or other. The Holy Spirit will let you know what really needs to be done there.
I agree. Call me.
Well, let's think of some concluding remarks about a holy or special relationship, because our time is running out and people are walking out the back door.
We're leaving.
Talking as they
I
go.
always succeed in running a few out.
They probably know the answer, so they don't need to stick around.
Oh, good. So think of a remaining question about a holy relationship or the special relationship, because you probably have one or two, and we have time enough for a final comment on that. So you'd be trying to think of something like that. If the relationships where the other person, okay, I have a final thought. Took me a while to get there, but
You're not getting ready to die, are you?
I can't die.
Final thought? I'm sorry.
I don't know how to do that die thing. I do know how to make the body quit, not planning on it immediately. Now the thought's gone.
It died.
It's not really dead. I'll get it back. I couldn't quite help myself there. Oh gosh, it really is gone.
Sorry about that.
Your thought was probably better than anyway. Better. You hear that word?
Whoa.
Better.
Comes
Comparisons.
out all the time.
You got to be careful of comparisons. You're comparing something to find out which is better after all, right? Or which is not so much.
I heard something just this week that somebody said something like, "I'm with you because I hate you less than anybody else." I thought, well, that's a new perspective.
How lucky am I?
They were talking, it
What a
wasn't somebody
lucky
talking to me,
guy.
I just heard them, it was something out there, it was actually said better than that, but I can't remember.
Oh, well, here's I got my thought back, I think now. And I used to think I've just got to make all my special relationships holy. I don't think that anymore. I think it's irrelevant. But about that, what is important is if you can make one. I know it's going to sound a little strange, but at least one relationship, if you can get one that is truly holy, in the sense that both people agree to that, you will be blessed by that. So that's a goal. If you can make 10, good, go for it, whatever. But I think the Course is saying if you can just make one, you're going to get the blessing of the whole relationship from that one. You don't need another one in a certain sense. You will get that from that one. Okay? But, now, if you can make others, that's great. Do that as well. But if not, just place them under the care of the Holy Spirit. The problem here is this: you'll be tempted to make that one holy relationship your special one. Because the others aren't holy. So this is holy. Oh, it's special. No, it's not. Special and holy are opposite. Even if you just have one holy, it doesn't make it special. It just means that you can get the blessing you need from that from one. You don't need 10. If you happen to have, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. But you come at all your relationships with the same attitude, that is, they're going to be holy as far as I'm concerned. You just can't. And you do not try to make the other person do that. That does not work and would not be appropriate anyhow. Any other final comment? Because that's my final comment. No, thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, let's join in a circle, have a closing thought.